Discover solutions to issues that affect your family and professional life with practical information to help you get past life's adversities. Take a proactive approach to power up your life with Rosalie's expert resources.
Are you committed to keeping your hair and your skin looking healthy? When we look back at pictures of us in our younger years, we see the volume and the shine that our hair had. Many of us protect and nurture our skin from the damaging Florida sun, but not our hair. Did you know 40% of all hair loss sufferers are women? And the average woman loses between 50 to 150 strands of hair a day? Joining us with hair treatment restorative tips to get back the hair we lost and keep our hair looking young and healthy is the queen of everyday glam, Emily Loftus. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning, good morning.
Emily, share the most important hair treatment steps that can help reverse the damage that we already have to our hair.
I'm also from South Georgia, so I understand South Georgia weather is the same as Florida. So I feel you, sister, on about the humidity and the sun and the craziness of that weather. So I am with you on all of this. So the damage of your hair, you really need to be protecting your hair every day. You need to do leave-in treatments and elixirs. And I have a product that I want to share with you that you can get rid of your shampoo and conditioner and replace all of that with these 3-step treatment. The first one is a detoxing clarifier. It's going to strip all the residue that you have from all those different shampoos you've been using forever and ever. Amen. Then we have the reconstructing mask, which is really when you start to repair. That's when you get in there and start to massage the hair out, and we are going to repair and restore that beautiful hair. And last but not least is where the special magic potion is a leave-in treatment. It's a rejuvenating elixir. Couple of drops and you leave it in your hair and your hair is going to look amazing.
With a restorative plan, it's possible to postpone signs of our hair aging.
Absolutely, because it's really true what you said in the opening. Really, everyone thinks about their skincare regimen, but you also have this big hair head, and you need to make sure you are paying attention to damaging signs and paying attention to damage for your hair. And when you hop in the pools all the time and you have that chlorine, that is terrible for your hair.
And we need to wash those chemicals out as soon as we get out of the pool.
Wash it out.
We use lots of shampoos and conditioners, but they weight down our hair and dry it out.
Those are products that are not here to serve the purpose of anti-aging. All those other shampoos and conditioners and things you have in your shower, you just need to get rid of them because they are not helping you. That is why I love this product of the anti-aging hair treatment system, because it helps prevent gray hair. Did you hear me? Prevents gray hair, helps to straighten and strengthen the hair follicles and stimulate hair growth. It's an all-in-one product.
So why do some of us get gray hair earlier than others?
It really goes back to genetics, and you look back at your mother's side of the family, and that is where you get gray hair. So my mom didn't get gray hair until she was about 50 or so years old. So I'm pretty lucky, but at the same time, let's be honest, I am a brunette, and I have been dyeing my hair for 6 years. So I wouldn't even know if there is gray hair underneath there. But it really does go back to genetics. And sometimes I have some friends who became gray at 18, some not later till 50 or 60. It all depends on what's happening down your family line. But that is why we have all these wonderful products to prevent those gray hairs.
Don't forget, smoking affects our hair.
I don't know why people smoke anymore. I mean, you can't even do it inside. So just get rid of it, folks, because it really makes your hair brittle, and it can break it off in the middle of the shaft. So we think about smoking so bad for your skin and bad for your lungs and bad for your heart. It's also bad for your hair. So people, get rid of it. Get a new habit. Go running instead. You don't need it.
So tell us, what ingredients are in these nurturing products to protect our hair?
It has peptide. It has vitamin B12. It has proteins. It has alpha hydroxy. So it has everything that you need to make sure that your hair is manageable and growing and luscious and beautiful.
Now, can massaging our head really help activate hair follicles?
Yes. So when you're sitting at work, you're bored, You've already done your work. You're playing on Facebook, let's be honest. This is when you should get in there and really scrub and circulate. That gets your hair moving and it stimulates the hair growth in your hair. So I always tell people to shower with somewhat cold water and then also to rub your scalp. Both of those will help stimulate your hair and your hair will grow twice the speed.
So where can we find out more about age-proofing our hair?
Yes, so for the anti-aging hair treatment system, it is a 3-for-1 product. You can get it at Walgreens.
Thanks, Emily, for sharing your restorative tips to get our hair looking healthy and slow down losing those strands each day.
You too, take care.
Nutrition is vital to keep us all healthy. Many of us attempt to eat a balanced meal each day to achieve a healthier lifestyle. Though sometimes we need a support system to avoid everyday distractions that lead to craving of those foods we know are bad for us. Here to offer advice to help us meet our individual dietary needs and share some insight into how to curb the cravings is Cheryl Forberg, registered dietitian, chef, and nutritionist behind the show, The Biggest Loser. Good morning, Cheryl.
Good morning, Rose.
Cheryl, some of us get stressed out and crave chips with salt or sweet chocolate or even comfort foods. So tell us, what triggers these food cravings?
Well, there are a few different things that trigger cravings. One of them is your body might actually have a nutritional need for a particular vitamin, and that could cause it. Hormones are another reason that we sometimes crave things like chocolate or salty. And finally, one of the most popular things is an emotional craving, because almost all of us do emotional eating at some point or another, whether we're tired, happy, depressed, all of the above. And sometimes that causes us to reach for something salty, sweet, or whatever it is that we are craving. I just wrote a book called A Small Guide to Losing Big, which is all the nutrition guidance that I've been sharing with the cast of The Biggest Loser for 17 seasons. And it's loaded with tips about things just like that, about cravings. One of the most common cravings I hear about from men and women is a craving for something salty or crunchy. People might want chips or something really unhealthy. And I love to recommend having a snack of pistachios. 49 pistachios have 150 calories, only 120 milligrams of sodium, and they're made of really good fat. They're a little bit more concentrated in calories than protein or carbohydrates, but that helps us to feel full. We get that wonderful crunch and that creamy richness and flavor and the salt all in one trip. So I really love recommending this, especially since it's so portable and it's something you can grab and go.
Should some of us go cold turkey when it comes to those cravings hitting us?
Well, it depends on what the craving is. Sometimes cold turkey is the way to go. For example, at the ranch, it really is rehab, detox in the beginning. We don't have chips, we don't have white flour, white sugar, white rice, we don't have any fast food. And for some people, that has been their mainstay. That is what they've been eating for the most part. So having none of those things on hand causes them to go cold turkey, and that really does need to happen part of the time. Same thing holds true for having diet sodas. Some people have way too many of those a day, and we just simply don't have those things on hand. So the first few days it can be rough, but we provide a lot of these wonderful alternatives to retrain people's palate to choosing something that's healthier but that still satisfies that yearning they have.
You know, special occasions and holidays trigger that emotional connections with food, like Christmas cookies and Valentine candy, and, you know, there's got to be some healthy alternatives.
Right. That's exactly right. And Valentine's Day is a perfect example of mentioning that some people have an incredible sweet tooth and have so many soft drinks, too much candy, too many desserts. So the first thing I like to mention on that point is to just really try to enjoy the sweetness of a piece of fruit. You don't have to have a huge portion, but having a bowl of raspberries, blackberries, even an apple sometimes can really satisfy that sweet craving. And if you have a little more time to prepare something and you're craving chocolate, for example, this is one of my favorite recipes from my book, which is called Chocolate Silk. It's a really creamy and delicious chocolate pudding that I've made it with a low-fat coconut milk, but you can also use low-fat or fat-free milk. Really rich cocoa powder, really good vanilla, makes a delicious pudding, and here I've topped it with some crunchy pistachios. First of all, the emotional eating aspect, I just want to separate that a little bit. Sometimes people they think they're having a craving for whether it's something sweet or having carbs or something, but when they're trying to lose weight, I usually ask them, first of all, ask yourself, are you really hungry, or are you just eating because you're sad or lonely or depressed? And it's really important to distinguish these things, because some of us are actually medicating ourselves with food when we're not even hungry. So it's important to ask that question. But if you are still hungry, then yes, these are some wonderful alternatives, and it's taken me 17 seasons of the show to figure out the type of things that can really satisfy a craving, and this is a perfect example. Pizza. A lot of people think you can't ever have pizza or even cheese when you're trying to lose weight, but after all my time with the show, I figured out a way to make pizza really delicious, but very, very low in carbs. So what we have here is a portobello mushroom cap, and I've put a little bit of marinara sauce, some cooked Italian sausage, a little bit of mozzarella cheese, and you bake that in a 400-degree oven for 8 to 9 minutes, and there are less than 100 calories in there. This is one of the absolute all-time favorite recipes at the ranch.
How do we strike back at the cravings on a long-term basis?
Well, it's really important to just remember to take baby steps. The Biggest Loser is a reality show, but it's not realistic to think that you could get those same results at home, because on the show, it is their full-time job to lose weight, and they're away from their family, their job, and all those distractions. But the rest of us have a lot going on every day, and we can't be expected to have such accelerated weight loss. So it's important to plan ahead. Plan ahead with your meals, your snacks, your shopping, and really be sure that you include time for exercise. You should write down exercise on your calendar, just like a conference call or a business meeting. It's too easy to procrastinate or change your mind and think of a reason not to do it. You've got to write it down and stick to it.
Thanks, Cheryl, for joining us this morning and sharing tips to help us fight off the cravings with great tasting alternatives that are healthy for us.
Thanks for having me.
Do you believe in miracles? If you're a scientific thinker, you may dismiss them as physically impossible. But if you're a mother who will fight for her child's life every breathing moment of the day, you may get a miracle from heaven and leave medical specialists mystified. Joining us this morning is Christy Beam to share her incredible true story and heartache when she discovered her 10-year-old daughter had a rare incurable disease. And Devin Franklin, chairman of Franklin Entertainment, the company behind the highly anticipated faith-based film, Miracles from Heaven. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Christy, tell us about your family's journey that created the true story of Miracles from Heaven.
Well, our journey was filled with immense struggles and trials, and often some head-on challenges, some brick walls we faced, and we just had to reroute and go around. With Annabelle being very, very sick with 2 incurable digestive disorders, we had to fight, and so our family just learned to dig deep and fight and come together and fight with love.
Devon, you had huge success with Heaven is for Real. How did you meet Christy and her daughter to begin your involvement in Miracles from Heaven?
Met her, at first through the book. That's exactly how I connected to, her and the story. And the moment that I picked it up, it was a page turner. Literally could not put the book down as you're reading, how you talked about a mother's love earlier, a mother's love, fighting for the healing of her child and not taking no for an answer and stopping at nothing to make sure her child had the very best care in the world. And then the miraculous shows up. So after having put the book down, it was very clear this was a movie that I had to do. And I was so grateful that Christy not only shared her story in book form, but was very open to helping tell it on the screen.
So Christy, does this movie get an accurate account of your true life story?
It does. The heartbeat of it and the passion and the feeling and the love and the faithfulness, it does. And I feel like where the parts may be a little bit different is where the book Miracles from Heaven fills it in. And I feel like they so well support one another. I just feel like it all together in one package is just so perfectly shared and told.
Devon, with so much drama to work with, how did you find the heart of the story?
It's based upon going back to what they actually experienced. Having done a number of true stories and total number of true stories on film, the most successful ones are when you go back to what was the family going through? What was the authentic, organic, universal emotion that everyone can relate to? And that was the key to telling this story. Because if you can't relate to Christy, if you can't relate to Kevin, if you can't relate to what the family's going through, you won't have a movie that's going to work. So it was all about making sure that their drama and that their rendering on screen was as relatable as possible so that people could connect. And then when the miracle takes place, you can rejoice in the victory that they experienced.
You produced several films that came out of life and death experiences. What makes this film so different?
Because in this movie, it's called Miracles from Heaven. And I think that what's so powerful is, and you'll see in the film, that, what we begin to realize that miracles are all around us. And so as much as the movie talks about a journey to heaven in one portion of it, the bigger takeaway is that, God speaks to us through miracles. And that at the end of the day, Christy, realized that there were miracles all around her. And I think that's what's so different about this film than any other film that we've been a part of, is that it shows that we can be a miracle to each other, a miracle of love, a miracle of joy, a miracle of kindness. And that's something we can do right now and be that presence in someone else's life. And I think that's what makes this film so unique and really special.
So what were some challenges in bringing the story of Miracles from Heaven to life on screen?
Oh my goodness. I mean, well, making a movie is always a challenge. It's never a sure thing. And, trying to produce a film every day, there's a challenge. And one of the biggest challenges was to get the tree right. As you may or may not know, one of the big events that happens, the miraculous event happens involving a big 90-foot tree. And so we had to recreate that tree. And that was a huge challenge. And it spent months and months and months of time building it and making sure that it looked real. So hopefully people, when they see the film, will enjoy that aspect of it. And certainly when people have seen the trailer, they didn't even know that the tree is not real. But that was one of the biggest challenges we faced that hopefully we were successful in achieving.
Tell us about your award-winning cast and the actors who shared their talents with the audience of this faith and family film.
So much of it is, does that person embody the spirit of the character? And so Jennifer Garner was the top choice because she has an integrity, she has a dignity, she has a heart, the same way that Christy does. And so, getting her to do the film, and we were so excited when she read the script. She said that when she read the script, she stayed up all night because she knew that she had to play this character because she was so compelled by what Christy actually went through in her real life. So much of casting a film successfully is finding someone that represents the essence of the character, and then hopefully you can land that person. And we were grateful to get her, we were grateful to get Queen Latifah, we were grateful to get Eugenio Derbez, who's the biggest Latino star in the world. We are just so fortunate to have such a great cast to come together to help tell this story.
So Christy, how has your family experience, the crisis, the book and the movie, changed your lives forever?
Well, I feel like we have gone from the ones who have been encouraged because of all of our trials and struggles and agony to being called to be the encouragers to others. And we are now offering that message of hope and just that don't give up, and that none of what you experience is forever. There's always a plan.
So where can our viewers learn more about Miracles from Heaven?
You can go to our website, sonypictures.com/Miracles from Heaven, and the movie will be out in theaters all across the country March 16th. It is the week before Easter, and we are hoping and praying and believing that people and families all across the country will come out and see this film, because it's going to warm your heart. It's going to reassure you that everything is okay and that we definitely are not here alone.
Thank you, Christy and Devin, for joining us this morning and helping to inspire our viewers to remember there will always be miracles from heaven.
Thank you.
I believe a mother's passionate, dedicated commitment to heal her child is a miracle in life. As a mother and disability advocate, I recognize the importance of inclusion and the power of advocacy to help identify the skills and talents of a person with a disability. Our crew recently traveled north to Tallahassee to cover Florida Developmental Disability Awareness Day. Before the kickoff event, we had the opportunity to visit with Deborah Dowds, the director of the Florida Developmental Disability Council, and Elisa McKinley, director of Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. Both women partner their efforts to increase opportunities for persons with disabilities so that they can live, work, and play in their community. Deborah, first of all, tell us a little bit about the mission of the Florida Developmental Disability Council.
The Council is charged with implementing the Federal Developmental Disabilities Act, and that act is based on the belief that individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities can and should be fully integrated and included in their community. And so that is, we undertake a number of kinds of initiatives to build the capacity for individuals and the systems to do that.
Okay, and in that whole capacity, you talk about inclusion in the community.
Yes.
And with inclusion in the community, you have advocacy. So tell us about how important advocacy is for your council.
First, I'd like to tell you what inclusion is.
Okay.
So inclusion is basically recognizing that some individual with disabilities, their abilities, and building on those abilities. It is enabling an individual with developmental disabilities to participate in all the community activities that you and I would enjoy, living, working, playing in the community. The other important component to achieving inclusion is advocacy. Advocacy starts with individuals with developmental disabilities learning how to speak for themselves and learning how to talk about and express what they need, what they want, and having that voice. It's also educating the community about the lives of people with disabilities and the potential of people with developmental disabilities. It's encouraging communities to do what they can to support individuals with developmental disabilities in the community, and it's influencing services and so that they can be offered in the community. The advocacy with the legislature is critical because the legislatures are the ones who decide not only on the level of funding that goes to provide the amount of services, but the direction and the nature of those services. The legislators need to understand about the lives of people with developmental disabilities and their potential and what services are needed for them to be included. That's why we have Developmental Disabilities Day.
Florida Developmental Disability Council members who are self-advocates share what they learn from the council when they return to their communities, like self-advocate Chris Drummond from Central Florida.
Chris was a member of the council for several years and had learned a lot and contributed a lot, and since he's left, he's taken his advocacy to the community. So Chris, tell us a little bit about what you learned from the DD Council and how you've used your advocacy since you left.
What I have learned from the DD Council is a lot of outspoken words to my people in my Central Florida Self-Determination group to teach them to be more outspoken to the standards and to the representative and also to the community. My group is really trying their best to keep going and to venture out more out in the community.
The Florida Division of Vocational Rehabilitation also known as Voc Rehab or VR, is a federal state program that partners with other organizations like the Florida Developmental Disability Council to increase employment opportunities for persons with disabilities.
I'm here with Alicia McKinley. Alicia is the Vocational Rehabilitation Executive Director here in the state of Florida for vocational rehabilitation, which is a division of the Department of Education. Tell us, what is, as we refer to it, Voc Rehab's mission?
The Division of Voc Rehab is responsible for one thing, and that is helping people with disabilities of all kinds get and keep jobs. So last year we served close to 50,000 individuals with disabilities of all kinds, and I would tell you that 16% of our caseload are individuals who have developmental disabilities. Over 6,000 individuals with developmental disabilities were customers, active customers for vocational rehabilitation, and that's approximately 16% of our caseload in total, and we are building that number each year. For every job that's open in the state of Florida, there's somebody with a disability who is either qualified to do it or who can be taught to do it, and that is really what we're all about.
And that is the answer to inclusion, employment opportunities.
Right, because when you meet anybody, one of the first questions that strangers ask each other is, what do you do? It's a way to be accepted into society. It's an entree into conversations and the public discourse. So as I said, for every job that's open, there's somebody with a disability who can do it, and that is the ultimate inclusion. Learning to advocate for yourself, learning to speak up about what you need and want, and learning to respond to what an employer needs and wants is critical to the success of individuals who are trying to maintain employment, and we're there to help. So what I would tell you is that self-advocacy is of critical importance, joining with other entities like the Developmental Disabilities Council, which is a very strong partner for VR. Anybody who has a disability in the state of Florida that presents barriers to employment, who wants to work, needs to come to their local VR office, because that's what we're there for, and we would love to help.
Can you tell us, how many offices do you have throughout the state of Florida?
We have 89 field offices in the state of Florida where individuals could come and receive services. We do have a publicly facing website, www.rehabworks.org, and all of those offices are there.
All right, Alicia, thank you so much, and thank you for all the great work you do for people with disabilities in the state of Florida.
You're welcome. Thank you.
At the Florida Developmental Disability Awareness Day press conference, Florida Senator Antoneri Flores of District 37 of Miami-Dade presented South Florida self-advocate Damian Gregory with the Idalio Valdez Leadership Award.
I am so honored that this year I get to give that award to someone very special who is here, Damian Gregory. So congratulations so much to Damian.
To my brothers and sisters with disabilities, we all know that coming to the legislature is an important exercise, but we need to do more than that. We need to make sure that people, legislators like Senator Flores, get to know us and our stories.
Damian Gregory credits his mother's unwavering support for his success that he has in life and as a self-advocate. I know firsthand that a mother's commitment to her child's health takes on a role of advocacy, and that advocacy then creates miracles to change lives forever. Share with us how your advocacy message helped create a greater quality of life for you and your family at facebook.com/Rose Lee Show, or follow us on Instagram at The Rose Lee Show, and watch this episode and many others here at Ion Television, or 24/7 at RoselyArcherShow.com. Thanks for joining us this morning, and we look forward to seeing you soon.